In this video, I will provide you with simple and basic instructions. I will not be walking you through the entire step-by-step process for framing a long wall by yourself. Now, this wall could have been broken down into sections and framed because there were 3 carpenters on the job, but I chose not to. And the reason for that, if you can see, we have 4x4s over here. 4x4s that have hold downs bolted to the building foundation. We have a raised floor, and I thought that it would be structurally stronger if we could bolt the 4x4s to the building foundation instead of setting them on top of the wall framing plate and then using a longer hold down or some type of a connector to connect it to the building foundation. And hopefully that makes sense. So all I did here was fastened the framing plates to the floor and then installed each stud separately. And you see, I don't have any braces at all holding this thing up. And the reason for that would be obvious. I have the 4x4s in here already that aren't going to allow the wall to fall over. However, that won't be the case most of the time. So basically, if you have a long wall, you're simply going to start with your framing plate. Attach it securely to the foundation, because a framing plate is going to help support the vertical wall framing studs. However, this won't always be the case. You might need to install additional braces or build one section of the wall at a time. Next up, let's take a look at how the wall framing studs might be attached to the framing plates. And that would be with 2 16D nails on one side and 1 16D nail on the other side. And when I first started, this method right here was the preferred method on most of the architectural building plans. However, it was rarely used. So I think the best way for most of us to get started would be to attach a couple of the wall framing studs to the framing plate and then install some type of bracing to prevent the wall from falling over. And again, this is just additional insurance. And obviously this video isn't for people who've done this before. It's more for people who haven't done it before and are looking for a little guidance. So I would definitely suggest installing some type of bracing, whether that's at the beginning of the wall framing like we're doing here, or when you get a little bit further, maybe where you have 5 or 6 studs attached and the wall seems a little flimsy. And of course, you can always install additional bracing and bracing going in the other direction. These braces here will prevent the wall from falling over. This one here will prevent it from falling in this direction or leaning a little too far in this direction or this direction. Next up, let's go ahead and install our wall framing studs. You can install them one at a time, working your way down the line. I just wouldn't go too far without installing the top plate. Or you can install the top plate first and then install your framing studs and then build one section of the wall at a time. So you could use whatever length you're using for your top plates to create one section of the wall. Finish this section of the wall framing, make sure that it is securely braced, and then build the next section. And as always, if you have any questions about the video, feel free to leave them in the comment area, and I will be glad to answer them as soon as possible.